Hey guys, another video of me rambling on about shooting hinges again for anybody who cares. And this here is one of the reasons why I'm making another quick video, the Scott Select hinge. This hinge and other ones like it that have a two moon, or a dual sear system, I think some people refer to it as. And this has really helped me with the timing of my shot. And what I mean by that is roughly the amount of time that elapses from when I get to anchor, hit my click, and then fire. I'm doing my best to try and keep all of that consistent because it's helping me be more accurate. So I stumbled across a bloke on Archery Talk called Paget. I think that's how you say his name, I'm not too sure. And he's got a website about archery, and there are some articles you can read without having to pay to subscribe there, but I think it's 10 American dollars, which is about 16 Australian dollars right now, to subscribe to his website. And there's a bunch more info available, and there's lots about shooting hinges. And when I was reading his article about setting up a Scott Ascent, I realized that getting to my click was okay, but sometimes I was taking far too long to have it go off. Whether it be because I had the firing moon set too cold, or whether it be because my technique was a little bit off, or I was thinking so much about my pin float I was uncomfortable expanding until it felt great, I don't know. But I've sped some things up a little bit. And the reason why I'm talking about this hinge, the Select, as well as there are some others on the market that will do something similar. The Scott Ascent, I've got one coming in the mail. The Ultra View Hinge 2, I've got one of them here. I've been mucking around with that one a little bit lately. It's pretty good as well. There's Carter 2 moons and a few other Carter ones, even the Knock-On 2 Smooth has 2 moons as well. But the idea is you can not only set, or you don't just set the distance from when the release will go from here to click. You can also set the distance from there to firing. Okay, I'll do it one more time. At first I thought it might be a little bit of a gimmick, but I've come to really enjoy it for a few reasons. One of them being, this hinge here was one of my absolute favourites. I shot this for a decent amount of time within the last 6 months or so. It's a B3 Infinity Pro, okay? And there's a fair amount of adjustment in here, but the distance from click to fire can't be changed. So I can get this to a point where it'll go click and there's a fair amount of adjustment in there, but the sear for the click is maybe just a little bit too hot. And I've found that I much prefer now to get to my click and spend a little bit more time pulling than what this hinge will actually allow. So nothing against this hinge whatsoever. It's made beautifully. The different pelicans that come with it are great too, but I just find that having that click to fire preset, as it comes in this and lots of other hinges I imagine, it doesn't work for me now unless the click to fire is a little bit colder, a little bit slower. It may be hard to see, guys, but you can see there that there are 2 sears. You can see pictures of it all over the internet and all over YouTube and whatever, but it just gives you a bit of that idea of what I'm talking about, and you can adjust both of those distances. So like I said, at first I thought the customization was kind of intimidating and maybe a bit of a gimmick and pointless, but now that I'm used to using it, it's hard for me to go back to a hinge that does not include those dual sears. You can't see the target, but I'm at about 80 meters now. Something I've mentioned in my videos before is practicing at a really long distance helps me personally abandon the idea of catching my aim and embracing the float. And certainly with working on my timing, as I've mentioned here before, it encourages me to just get the shot done. And I don't mean rushing it, I just mean no amount of holding it full draw and waiting for things to settle down is actually going to make it happen, because the longer I'm there, the more fatigued I get and the worse the shot picture looks. So what I'll do on these shots is just try and get to the point where once I get to that click, I'm driving through not super fast, but at a reasonable pace, and I'll try and keep that somewhat consistent, and we'll see what it translates to roughly as a group. Even then, felt like it might have been a little bit too long. Not sure if it was. That felt pretty smooth in a way and jerky in a way. I'm not sure. Still just trying to get my shot done in a reasonable amount of time. Still maybe felt a little bit too long, but it was a good shot. Anyhow, as I always say in my videos, guys, it's just me working on my technique. Far from an expert. Way out to the left. Got pushed around a little bit by the breeze on that one. We're going to have a look at these guys. I think most of them are pretty decent for 80 metres, which is close to 90 yards. I don't think the breeze is affecting the arrow flight much, but I could certainly feel myself getting pushed a little bit from right to left during some of these shots, so I'm not at all surprised that some are over to the left here, but we'll get up there and make a few more longer shots and continue going over some of my thoughts around the timing of this stuff. But you can certainly see that the elevation is pretty decent here, and really as an 80 metre group, close to 90 yards, like I said, it's not too bad. I think I can do a little bit better right now, but this is fairly indicative of my capabilities at the moment. What you'll see me talking about a little bit in this video today, or even read about on the internet on Paget's website or some of the threads on Archery Talk, is that you want to get to a point where as soon as you get to anchor, that release clicks, and then you want it to basically be a case of pulling or expanding or rotating your fingers, whatever you are using to engage your shot process. You want there to be roughly 2.5 up to maybe 4.5, 5 seconds, maybe a little bit more until that shot goes off. And this was a really big eye-opener for me, because I found myself sort of getting to my click and then just staying there pulling really slowly for a really long time. And as I did that, I'd wobble more and more and more, and as opposed to letting down, which is what I probably should have done, I would just choose to stay in the shot and still not worry about my float and expand, and the break would always be nice and clean. But because I was fatiguing so much, I couldn't hold my pin anywhere near as steady as what I needed to, so I wasn't shooting as consistently as I wanted. So when I was at indoor archery a couple of weeks ago with some friends of mine, I was mucking around with the speed of some of my hinges, particularly from that click to fire, and just asking them to watch me and time me and get to a point where anytime after about 2.5 seconds to maybe about that 5-second mark, it would go off. Obviously in hunting situations, you know, you're going to have to maybe try and control a little bit more about that speed, because sometimes a shot will be on and then it'll be off and you'll have to make that choice. But certainly when practicing, if getting your speed fairly consistent is something you haven't done in the past, it should help you find a lot more consistency. I'm losing the light and the roast lamb is nearly done on the smoker, so we're going to let some go at 35 metres and finish her up. "35 metres is probably a reasonable hunting shot for me. I like to keep everything inside 30 metres. I'm obviously capable of a lot more than that, but we get to hunt so often here in Australia. I'm not that concerned about the super long shots. Can't say I'll never take one, but yeah, certainly since I've got this bow, everything's been inside 30 metres and it's been money. Scoring zone on that warthog's actually pretty high really, but maybe it's a bit low, but on all the wild pigs we shoot here in Australia, we like the arrows tucked right in up behind that elbow. Thanks for sticking with the video, guys, if you've made it this far. Once again, these sort of dual sear hinges have been a game changer for me when it comes to setting them up and finding an appropriate speed or rhythm for my shooting. The Scott Select so far has been my favourite. The UltraView Hinge 2 is great as well. I've got a Scott Ascent on the way. So yeah, if you'd like me to go into a bit more detail about some of the hinges that you've seen me shooting, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best. Or if you'd like me to maybe do a video about how I've got these set up or how I go through the process of setting them up, let me know down below as well and I'll do my best. If you see something I'm doing which is completely wrong and stupid, let me know and I'll try and make those improvements. I know the last one I put out, I had the string on my nose way too much, and these bows at 80% let off, so I was potentially screwing up a lot of my shots in that way. I do have a big nose, don't get me wrong, but that's where I bumped it on a bloody car door just up here the other day, which is painful. But like I said, guys, I'm no expert. I'm just trying to work through things and be the best I can and be the best hunter I can. We're very lucky in Australia, we get to hunt all the time. So my mates and I are always out hunting, making plenty of shots on animals, keeping ourselves accountable with our shot process and picking our shots apart at indoor archery clubs and stuff. And I'm definitely the one out of all my mates that prefers hinges, so I'm sort of doing my best to learn as much as I can and continue to improve. So yeah, thanks for watching. Leave some comments if you want to start a good conversation, and keep up to speed with other videos I'm putting out. And yeah, we might do some more hinge videos in the future. Cheers.